Oh boy. We are back, guys. oh, it's interesting that somehow this movie is supposed to be new. It's supposed to be fresh. It's supposed to be innovative. It's supposed to break away from the mundane, from the garbage, from the dumpster fire that was the Marvel Cinematic Universe of Phase 4. Everything, literally, after No Way Home, basically, there's been a few gems, there's been a few diamonds in the rough, but for the most part, Phase 4 was completely pointless. It was supposed to be the beginning of the multiverse saga after the Infinity Saga had concluded. And Kevin Feige said that Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania was supposed to not only be the beginning of Marvel Phase 5, but it was supposed to be the most important movie in the MCU catalog since Avengers Endgame. I don't understand the logic behind that statement. Because this is not an Ant-Man movie. This has very, very little to do with Ant-Man, Wasp, and all of the other characters. And all. And when I mean all, I mean the numerous characters in this movie that get introduced and have very little to nothing to do. I mean, Bill Murray is in this movie, and he does nothing. He does nothing in this movie. You see him for about maybe 5 minutes in this film, and he doesn't do anything. He literally owns this secret club. He gets off of his wrecked spaceship, has a meeting with the group, including Wasp. He has a little conversation with them. He magically betrays them to Kang the Conqueror behind the scenes somehow. We don't actually know how that happened, but he just magically tells Kang the Conqueror's troops, "Hey, I have somebody that you might be interested in, like having revenge on." And then that's it. That literally is what he does in the. He gets. I guess it's rumored that he gets eaten by something, but really, that's what you do with Bill Murray? Like, this movie is not an Ant-Man movie. Like, literally, Ant-Man doesn't do anything. He's constantly being overstepped. He's constantly being put in his place by women. This film makes men dumb, while women are just completely smart. They have no problems. They have no issues in life. I mean, it literally makes Cassie Lang, Scott Lang, aka the new Ant-Man, in this universe, instead of Hank Pym. So Scott Lang's daughter is so smart that she is able to build a quantum telescope of sorts to look into the quantum realm. And they make a joke about the fact that Ant-Man couldn't do that. I'm like, but he's not smart. He doesn't have science degrees. I mean, you literally gave him your suit. You didn't even. Scott Lang didn't even build his own suit like Iron Man did. He literally just inherited it because he does good things and he's good in the heart. So why would you expect him to build something that sophisticated? And it's just like, and you see this throughout the entire film. Now, characters do get like a moment to shine, but the film generally just makes men dumb. Like, and I'll talk about, for example, they make MODOK a complete dick. And if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They literally, Cassie Lang literally defeats MODOK of sorts. And when he gets defeated, MODOK's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm such a dick. And Cassie Lang is like, well, stop being a dick. And MODOK's like, well, I don't know what to be but a dick. He's like, and then Cassie Lang's like, look, you be whatever you want. And then MODOK's like, well, I don't want to be a dick. And then it comes back like 5 minutes later, and he sacrifices himself to defeat Kang while he's using his bubble shield from Halo 3 in this movie. um, and then MODOK's like, I'm not a dick, I'm an Avenger of sorts. I'm just like, that running theme, the men are dumb and women are just complete smart people, is throughout this entire movie, and it royally pisses me off. I just hate that. Next point I want to make, moving on from that little rant sidetrack. Like I said, this is not an Ant-Man movie. It has Ant-Man doesn't really do anything. He gets his butt kicked by Kang the Conqueror, which obviously should have happened. I mean, it's Kang the Conqueror. Wasp does nothing except dress up as Rey Skywalker and just is constantly in shock and awe that her mom can kick ass. She has this secret past with Kang the Conqueror in the Quantum Realm. And that's it. You constantly get this look of like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. For the whole movie almost. It's like, I know for a fact that actress could do more than one shock and awe phase, but that's what it basically comes down to. She's constantly in shock and awe of everything happening around her. This movie honestly should have been called Kang the Conqueror versus the Ant Family, because that's what basically the entire plot is of this film. Like I said earlier, this is supposed to be the beginning of Phase 5, and trying to not literally copy-paste the exact same format and formula of Phase 4. The problem is it basically does. There are way too many jokes in this movie. And even though the trailers made it look serious, there's just too many jokes. Well, there's a bunch of heavy action moments. Like, there's this scene, and you've seen it in clips and trailers, so this is not a spoiler. But, and I will be talking about spoilers later on in the video in case you guys are wondering. And I'll let you guys know when I get to that. But there's this scene where Cassie Lang is surrounded. Ant-Man, her dad, shows up, saves her. And he's like, you gotta do this and you gotta do that in order to defeat them. And so he decides to show him this while there's a gigantic battle going around them. And then after he shows her how to defeat the bad guys with the quantum, shrink tech powers of being an Ant-Man, Cassie Lang's like, oh, I couldn't see you, you're like this small. And I'm like, you got people literally shooting at each other and dying, and you're doing a video game tutorial. Why is this video game tutorial happening right now? And don't you think you could have trained your daughter on how to punch somebody when you're the size of a penny? Maybe when you're back in the real world? Like, why wasn't that done when you finally met her? Why are we being shown this? And I get, you gotta show the audience, a little father-daughter thing, but it's just so out of place, it's so out of left field, and it's odd. So, there's just too many jokes, there's too many odd moments. Now, I will say it's not as bad as things like She-Hulk, it's not as bad as Thor: Love and Thunder with the Screaming Goats. I mean, I liked the Screaming Goats for a while in that movie, but eventually it just got, irritating. So, yeah. In case you guys are wondering, I'm going to start diving into some of the spoilers, so this will be a great point for you to jump off if you guys haven't seen the movie yet and you guys don't want to be spoiled by anything anymore. Serious So here we go. That's your spoiler warning. So the plot is basically journey to the center of the earth with numerous unnecessary political talks and propaganda, and it's a big budget. They literally make the statement towards the end of the movie that socialism is a good thing, and they use socialism basically in order to defeat the villains. Things are just constantly said, and things are constantly done conveniently just to move the plot forward. My only interest in seeing this movie, to be honest, based on the trailer, was seeing Kang the Conqueror being introduced into the MCU. I mean, like, if you watch the Loki show, like I have, like, 4 times now, you've already been introduced to Kang, He Who Remains, but this is supposed to be the Kang the Conqueror, and he's supposed to be the new Avengers level Thanos threat. Is he evil, threatening? Yeah. But in this movie, he literally gets defeated by ants. And I'm just like, I'm so confused by that dumbness that's in this movie. He literally gets destroyed. His army gets destroyed by ants. He gets sucked into the quantum realm because of the ants and Ant-Man. And it's like, but you have been to other multiversal timelines and you've literally killed numerous variants of the Avengers, and you get defeated by ants. You get defeated by super smart ants. I don't understand the logic of that. like, I get that they needed to make where he doesn't get killed because he's supposed to be the big baddie going throughout the rest of Phase 5 and 6. But I'm just like, you could have come up with something a little more smart. Let's talk about MODOK again. MODOK being basically the villain resurrected from the original Ant-Man movie was just dumb. He was a clown, and he was pointless in the entire film. He doesn't do anything. The CGI for him was crap. I honestly was like, oh, it hurts to look at him. This is 2023. Why is it that the CGI for MODOK looks worse than the CGI from Spy Kids 3D Game Over and Shark Boy and Lava Girl combined? I know there's that meme going out right now on the internet where you can compare Ant-Man 3 to Shark Boy and Lava Girl and Spy Kids 3D, and you can tell which one looks worse. And it's just like, it's been like a 20-year gap. How come the special effects and the CGI has magically gotten worse? How did the CGI department lose that much talent? And it's not talent. It's like they decided to do the CGI last, and they just rushed it. This movie, like I said earlier, it feels more like a Kang origin film. Very little to do with actual Ant-Man characters. Now I want to talk about something positive. There is no woke characters. There's no wokeness or anything like that. There is some social commentary in here, so there is some political stuff in there, but there's no wokeness, which is like, oh, thank God. So, thank you for that. At least they learn from that. But moving on, this movie is just basically 2 hours long. We get a bunch more Marvel stuff. But things are just constantly happening, and it doesn't seem like, even though this is the beginning of Phase 5, they don't know what they're supposed to do with certain characters. They don't know what they're supposed to do with the plot. And this is supposed to be the conclusion of the Ant-Man trilogy. There is rumor that we're going to get an Ant-Man 4. But I don't think we really need another Ant-Man movie, to be honest. I feel like this was probably just like a good way to lead into Avengers 5, Kang Dynasty. And it's like, I will say, I would rather rewatch this movie compared to something like The Eternals, or Thor Love and Thunder, but I don't like this as an Ant-Man movie. I would gladly rewatch, and I have, rewatched Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp. But when it comes to Quantumania, the only reason I see me ever rewatching this movie is with people that have never seen it. I am doing a complete watch of all the MCU films from start to finish, or I'm just completely bored. So, last thing I want to talk about, there are two post-credit scenes. One's mid-credit, one is post-credit. The first one goes into the King Council, and the other one goes into teasing Loki Season 2. So, overall, I thought Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was decent, but I really think they could have done a lot better when it comes to this movie. And I will be honest, I'm looking forward to Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Could care less about the Marvels. And I feel like Phase 5 is slightly better. It looks like Phase 5 will be slightly better than Phase 4, but I don't think it's going to be the hype and highs of the first three phases of the MCU. So with that, I'm going to give Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania a 5 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section down below. Have you guys seen it? Did you guys like it? Why or why not? You guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Bye, guys.